Today I'll be talking about 2 different ways to make fondant at home. Come join me. The first of the 2 methods is to use marshmallows. So I've taken 2 16-ounce bags of marshmallows and put them into a bowl along with 3 to 6 tablespoons of water. I am melting these in the microwave for 30-second increments with a good stir in between each one of the microwave times. The goal here is to get it smooth enough so that we can mix in the powdered sugar. So once I have melted this, I'm adding some oil to my workstation and I'm just rubbing that out a little bit so that we can get it not to stick to the workstation. So for each of the 16-ounce bags, we will add about 4 cups of powdered sugar. Many folks will use sifted sugar. I don't always do that because I feel like as you mix it, it does break up all those little balls of sugar, and that's why people will use sifted sugar. As we're doing this, you'll notice that I'm not using gloves. I've tried to use gloves multiple times, and each time my gloves will rip because this is quite a sticky process, and they just rip as we're going through the process. So I use very clean hands to mix and knead and get this all prepared and incorporated into the marshmallow. As I'm doing this, I'll mix a portion of the sugar into the marshmallow and then I'll get it incorporated, and then I'll go back and I'll add additional sugar to reach the amount that needs to be added for the recipe. I just find that because this is so messy, if you add all of it at one time, it just gets everywhere. So I add it in small amounts at a time. And you'll notice this, it takes a long time to do. But really the benefit to doing this is cost. It's much cheaper to make this on your own than to buy this in a store. So that's the benefit. You'll notice that I break this up a little bit to try to knead this in, and that's just because I find sometimes it's easier to mix smaller amounts at one time in your hands. So that's the way that I do it. Of course, you'll find how to do it that works best for you. I'm really interested in hearing how other people do this, what ways that you have found to make this an easier process. I have tried to do this in a mixer and I didn't have such great luck. So I found it really works best for me to do it by hand. And then we're ultimately going to be looking at another way to make this as well. And I'd like to hear which ingredients you use to make your fondant, which works best. After I get this all kneaded together, I break this up into smaller balls because I store it in Ziploc baggies. So I use a little bit of oil to coat each of the balls because that prevents it from sticking to those baggies. And ultimately, then once I finish that, I just store it in a previously used fondant or airtight container, and that keeps it fresh and ready to use when I'm ready to do the cake. So that's method number 1. Next method we're going to be talking about is making fondant with marshmallow cream. This is the very first time that I'm making it this way, so I really would like to hear other people's experience. So this is a 48-ounce container of marshmallow cream. So for every 16 ounces, you put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Here I am mixing this up a bit so that when I dump it out, it's not real messy and liquid, just enough to get it incorporated enough so that it's not super messy. So as I mentioned previously, I'm adding a little bit of oil to my workstation to keep it from sticking so much. So as you can see, it is also very sticky, and I'm going to use the same method in using my hands to do this, as opposed to trying to use gloved hands or trying to do this in a mixer, just because it's what works when I do it with marshmallows. So hopefully it works just as well using my hands for marshmallow cream. So again, we are mixing in powdered sugar and just kneading it until it is all incorporated. And again, this is a much bigger batch because it is technically 3 batches of 16. So again, I'm just incorporating this as best I can and adding the additional sugar as I work through this process. So for the first one, it was marshmallows, water, and sugar. For this one, it is marshmallow cream, vanilla, and sugar. As I was doing this, I noted that it's easier to mix. It's just more of a smooth mix doing it this way. As I mentioned, this is the first time I've done this, but it seemed smoother. So once I got this all incorporated into the marshmallow cream, again, I broke this down into smaller balls, and I will also again use some oil to keep it from sticking to the bag. So these are the 2 methods that I used, and I'm really interested in hearing other people's experiences and what works for them. I have never covered a cake with this kind of fondant, so I may have a follow-up video to talk about that and what I like best. So here I'm getting ready to put these into the baggies, and again, I'll put this into a airtight container. I do thank you for coming to join me for this video. Please like, comment, and share this video if you feel so inclined to do so. And also, please let me know what works best for you, what you decided, or how you do it, and which ingredients work best for you. Thank you for joining me. Again, like, comment, share. You decide. You be the judge. Which is better? Let me know in the comments.